Man, so much disasters. Man, these are a lot of interesting facts. You didn't see anything? Hey guys, what's going on? Tornado Sponge here with the very first top 10 list, as you may have already told in the title below or when you clicked on the video. I've had a lot of thought thinking about what I should do for my first top 10 list, and it's been on my mind for a while. And I decided to go with something that you guys are familiar with. So, without further ado, this is my top 10 favorite preschool television programs that I grew up with. For this list, I've gathered shows that I've watched on TV, and maybe wanted to play games under that name, have books, VHSs, or merchandise bit. So it comes. That all depends on the factor of it. And also, I'm choosing the shows that I grew up with. So if you have a show on here, if you have a show that's your favorite but didn't make it the list, too bad, this is my shows. Sorry. But anyway, and if you're also wondering, spoiler alert a little bit, more than half of the shows on this list will be from Nick Jr. Why? Because I grew up with Nick Jr. the most. Okay. So without further ado, let's take a look at the lucky picks of the top 10 preschool television shows. Mine, anyway. Number 10, Teletubbies from PBS Kids. Looking back, I don't know why the show attracted to me. Probably because, I was an infant, I was 1 year old, and this show had these 4 characters that would run around and, they would do these crazy things, and, and they have televisions on their bellies. How cool would that be to have actual working televisions on the bellies? But then again, I think these are aliens or something. I don't know what they are. But I will tell you what they are. It was a British-made show. Yeah. A British-made show actually got me attracted. No offense to all you British people out there. I love the British. But, to think that a Texan like myself, actually liked a show like that, I guess it was pretty good. And the show was pretty good. It was okay. And when I look back on it, it's really hilarious to make fun of this show. So, it's okay. And for number 9, Clifford the Big Red Dog from PBS Kids. So, Clifford I think the only way you would like Clifford, really like it, like I do, you would have to be a total dog person to really love it on the scale that I love it. So it's based on the books we all grew up reading. Well, I grew up reading anyway. Clifford is about, a big red dog. That was actually the mutt of the litter. He wasn't expected to grow at all, but with the power of lots of love that the family gave Clifford, he grew up to be the hugest dog the world has ever seen. And yet he didn't make the Guinness Book of World Records. What a shame. But since then, the dog and his owner, Emily Elizabeth, say that 5 times fast, they've moved from the big city to Birdwell Island, an actual place that I would actually live, to be honest. And it follows the mundane adventures of Emily Elizabeth. I have trouble with her name even today. Follows her and her friends, and then there's also Clifford that follows along with his friends, and sometimes the two even combine together to tell one story. So, if you want to see a really good show, check out Clifford. I guarantee you'll love it. And for number 8, Dora the Explorer from Nick Jr. Before you say anything, I don't enjoy this show as much as I did back then. Well, on a hilarious scale, but taking it seriously, what was I thinking? But when you're a kid, you thought this was probably the best show ever. It's about this 5-year-old girl, I'm assuming, going on adventures with her monkey friend Boots, which was probably the only redeeming factor of the show. One of the only redeeming factors. Along the way, they have to solve problems that were sometimes in Spanish, or they had to find something. And looking back, all I see is this dumb girl who won't move her head an inch when there's something to be found that's obviously seen in the open. Watch. Can you tell me where the Halo poster's at? Oh, there it is! And just be this long silence. You know, there's actually a funny skit that Game Grumps did about that. It's like, you know, it's just so silent. But yeah, it's really fun to make of these days, and I'm pretty sure that the show ended long time ago, so I'm not just... The show lasted until 2015? And there's a spin-off? What?! And for number 7, Max and Ruby from Nick Jr. If you have seen the commercials video that I recently uploaded, you would know that I had the first Nick Jr. premiere of this show. I actually liked this show growing up. And, oh goody, here we go with this one. So, this show is basically about bunnies. Yes, it's a world full of bunnies. But we follow these 2 certain bunnies. We have Max, which is a 3-year-old bunny, and Ruby, who is a 7-year-old bunny. And it's basically formulaic as heck. Let me explain. So Ruby wants to do something that wants to go her way, like say she needs to talk on the phone with a friend, or she needs a badge for the Scouts, because she's in the Scouts. But Max always gets in her way, and always pesters, and says one word, and all that good stuff, and she starts getting angry, and really just crazy. She even gets rude sometimes, and it's just, what? And then after Max pesters her enough, he finally gets what he wants, whether intentionally or not. Oh, and by the way, I know this has been said so many times, but where the heck are their parents? I mean, I could get if they were just staying home by themselves during the day, but they're never with their parents, not even at night. There was an episode that took place at night, and there was no parents. Where are their parents? And then I'm gonna quote Angry Grandpa on this. Grandma comes by once a week, checking on them. You know, I thought Grandma was always kind of the nice character. Anyway, if you want to check out the show, go check it out. There's not me stopping you from that. Continuing on. And for number 6, Little Bill from Nick Jr. So this show was made by Bill Cosby, a mastermind in TV comedy. Yeah. I'm not going to really address that elephant in the room just yet, but... Anyway, let's continue. So basically, this show is about a typical family living in the city doing day-to-day situations. And I do have to admit, there were a few episodes that scared me. I don't know why, it just did. Like, I remember this one episode where Little Bill was borrowing his sister's basketball trophy, and it somehow got broken, the ball was lost, and he was trying to return it, and the sister just blew up. She was like, "Oh my god, Little Bill, you destroyed my trophy!" And I swear, I remember the faintest of memories. I remember just shaking in fear, because I could kind of relate to, you know, that if I broke something, even today, if I break something that's not mine, I freak out. Like, genuinely freak out, because I broke someone else's property. But outside of that, it was good. I played the games online, and I owned the books for it. So, next show. And for number 5, Franklin from Nick Jr. And for you Canadians, I know this came out on the Treehouse channel, or Treehouse thing, so, but this is America. Came out on Nick Jr. here in America. With that said, there have been times where I've stood up, gone to do something, and I just forgot what I was going to do. But the lyrics to this show are stuck in my mind and my heart. There was a live stream that I did recently as of this upload that I sung the whole song by memory, and it was almost spot on. The fact that I remember that song 18 years later, oh man, that's one of a kind, I guess. But anyway, it's about this turtle who goes on with life, kind of like Little Bill, but it's in a world of anthropomorphic animals, which reminds me of a certain movie that I said that was my favorite of all time, but yeah, it's basically animals standing on two legs, interacting with each other, when in real life, they would actually eat and kill each other. But this is a kid's show, and it's imaginary, so we'll let it slide. Anyway, the show was colorful and interesting to watch. I do remember online there was only one game I could play for it. Like, really. There was only one game. Why weren't there more games made for this show? I also own several of the books, and I say check it out when you got the time for it. And for number 4, Dragon Tales from PBS Kids. So, this is one of my favorite preschool shows on PBS Kids. It's not my favorite because there are certain other shows like Author that are my favorite, but in preschool terms, Dragon Tales is my favorite. It's about these two kids, a brother and a sister, that find this stone, this magical stone in their new playroom, according to the first episode anyway. They find it, they discover it, and it takes them to a whole world full with dragons. They have their own customs, their own ways of living, and they basically go to this universe to basically have fun with their dragon friends. Horde, Cassie, Zack and Wheezy, and I think that was about it, other than other things. Oh yeah, there was another kid, Enrique, that they brought in the 3rd season that came out long after that I stopped watching the show, but it was pretty cool. Kind of wish he was in there earlier, but they had to amputate, I guess. By amputate, I mean they brought in a new character because their current cast of characters were not giving them the satisfaction that they need. Well, anyway, I don't remember me playing online games for this, but I did own the books, and they were great. If you want to check out a really good PBS Kids show, check out Dragon Tales. Now, on to number 3. Number 3. Oswald from Nick Jr. This show was about a friendly sea creature who lives in an apartment with his wiener dog, Weenie, who's actually a hot dog. He's friends with Henry the Penguin and Daisy the Flower. Hold on. Amongst other living things such as a butterfly and a caterpillar and... oh my goodness. Were these the side effects of being high? I mean, seriously, you would have to be high to think about the characters on this show. Well, not really, but... I mean, seriously, who thinks of a world where there's an octopus who has a literal hot dog weenie, who's friends with a penguin that I could kind of see, and friends with a flower? The thing is, this show was pretty calm and friendly. It wasn't hyper in your face all around. It was actually slow and calm. It taught kids patience, and of course, every time that they had this running gag where they, before they crossed the street, they would look side to side and then cross. Another good moral to teach the kids. So it's just morals like that, the slow pace of it, and the fact that it's calm, not hyperactive, but calm. It's what makes it a really good show. I played some of the games online, and I think there was a book that I owned, but yeah, check this show out. It's pretty nice. Number 2. Little Bear from Nick Jr. So kind of in a similar tone to Oswald, Little Bear is about the stories and adventures of a little bear cub named Little Bear. He hangs out with his friends in a forest, which include an owl, a cat, a duck, a chicken, and a girl. Wait, a human is in this? Is this like Winnie the Pooh? Because I remember Winnie the Pooh. But yeah, that really isn't my main question about this show. But it's calm, collective, but there was always one thing that got me about this show. What was the time period for this show? I mean, I literally grew up, like, searching for answers of which time period this show would have taken it. Judging from the clothings of the older bears, which are Little Bear's parents, and that little girl that shows up from time to time, I would have guessed it was the 1800s. But then there's things like going off to space as an astronaut, and making pancakes. I don't know if that was a thing in the 1800s, but flapjacks, whatever you call it, but I don't know, it confuses me. That's my only question about it. That drove me nuts. But, oh well. Little Bear had the charm that drew me in. I owned the books, I owned a lot of VHS tapes, and I played, like, I think there was only like one game to play online. That was something similar to Franklin. But before we get to our number one pick, here are some honorable mentions. Now, there were 3 Playhouse Disney shows that I would have put on this list, but they didn't really spark to me as my memory for nostalgia. They were Roly Poly Oly, Higglytown Heroes, and Stanley. I remember watching these shows growing up as a kid, like 5-6 years old. And they were cool. They were nice, but I don't remember them as much. Like, Higglytown Heroes I remember because I watched it every morning before I would go off to preschool. And Stanley because, well, it's another animal show. You know, I love animals. Which brings me to another animal show, Go Diego Go. Now, this was near the very end of when I started to get out of preschool shows, when I was like 8, 9 years old, probably. A little too late on that, but I got out around 10. But Go Diego Go was nice, even though it suffered from that other show. But at least it taught me animals, and it was better than that other show. Sorry. But, yeah. But, if there was a number 11 on this list, like the Nostalgia Critic, that would have to go to Big Bear in the Big Blue House. Big Bear in the Big Blue House, say that 5 times fast, was one of my favorites growing up. But, unfortunately, I didn't see this show as often. I mean, when it was on, it was amazing. It was cool to watch. But, I don't remember this show as much as I want to. Like, where did the times go? You know? But, yeah. That's the only reason why Big Bear in the Big Blue House is not on the list. But, if there was a number 11, it would have to be Big Bear in the Big Blue House, which is why it gets the number 1 rank in honorable mentions. And now, it's time for the number 1 pick of this list. Drumroll, please. Sucks. Anyway, you all saw this coming. Blue's Clues from Nick Jr. Heck, it's even the focus of many videos I upload on this channel, okay? Could you see it coming? It was the first show I ever got attracted to. It was the first of its kind to be fully interactive. Protagonist that was so full of energy and delight, and a list of colorful characters such as Spice Shakers, a bar of soap, sandbox toys, animals that either barked or talk, cash register. Did I enter LSD land? Nah, seriously. The only reason why inanimate objects talked and whatnot was because the creator said that inanimate objects are kind of like what kids are used to seeing. Like, you know, they would interact with it. I know I did. And I would show some home footage of that, but it's kind of embarrassing. But anyway, Style was so unique, and it was one of those shows that had a perfect run. 8 years worth of dedicated work. Well, 10 if you count those last 2 episodes, but, you know, that was like the ultra end of it. There were even reports that this show actually was more popular than Sesame Street at one time. And Sesame Street is the king of children's television shows. So it really shows the power of this show. And that's saying a lot. So if you want to go see it, there's no stopping you. Go right ahead and watch it. But that doesn't really do me justice for this show. Which is why next time when I do a top 10 list, I'll be doing the top 10 Blue's Clues episodes that would be a good start for you to check out. So, thank you for joining me in this first top 10 list. I don't plan on making this a regular thing like Watch Mojo does, but I will plan on making more when I feel like it. Like I said, the next top 10 will be about my number 1 choice, Blue's Clues. So thank you for watching. This is Tornado Sponge signing out, saying peace.